Hey, Brian from Snake Bites here. I'm standing outside the pet vendor in Centerline, Michigan. This is the place I bought my very first snake and had my very first job in the pet trade. They're closing down today after 35 years in business. This show is a tribute to them. You're watching Snake Bites. Although my passion for reptiles started at an extremely young age, this pet shop is really where it all started. I used to walk home from middle school every day and stop here for an hour or two just to gawk at all the amazing animals. It took me a couple years to convince my mom to let me buy a pet snake. And this shop hasn't changed much in all those years. Believe it or not, this exact tank is where I bought my very first Burmese python. It was on my 15th birthday, and I've always said, I'm not sure that that was a great choice for a first pet, but it turned out to be an amazing animal and certainly sparked a career dedicated to these amazing animals. It wasn't long before they decided to hire me on as a reptile specialist, and I came here every day to work with animals. Let me take you back and show you what I did every day.
Which animal adventure is on the top of Brian's to-do list? A. Swim with great white sharks. B. Go crab fishing. Or C. See gorillas in the wild. Answer with a comment and keep watching to see if you're right.
We opened this store in 1977. We came from a different location that was in Detroit and needed to branch out, so we looked around and found this location that used to be a pet shop. So it's been a great experience. You couldn't ask for a better deal. In looking back, when I would talk to people and they'd be complaining about their jobs, I said, God, how can people do that? I love to go to work. I love fish. I love the whole thing. I love my customers. And it's fun. But kind of in the last couple of years, with the way the economy's been, it hasn't been quite as fun. So it makes it harder. That was part of what went into deciding to close down after 35 years.
So here it is, where I spent every day during this summer caring for reptiles. Now back then, this was teeming with amazing animals. Unfortunately, they're closing down later today, and the majority of them are gone. But my job responsibility was to care for all of those animals. And there aren't many things left here, but there's still this little baby boa constrictor. And I used to have to clean them, water them, feed them, make them look presentable to the customers coming through the door. Now this guy's gonna get picked up later today, and it's one of the last remaining animals here. I tell you what, I've got a pretty cool story for you guys. Standing in this exact spot, 2 days after working here, I picked up a ball python and said, the thing I love about ball pythons is they're so tame. And I held it up to my face and it bit me right in the lip. That was my very first snake bite.
The employees I have now, Linda has been here for 15 years. She does the orders. She takes my calls when I don't want to deal with something. She deals with it for me, even though she might not be happy about it. Keith has been great. This kid lives right near here. I have to practically send him home because he'll work from 10 to 9 if I let him. He needs the money and he's more than willing to work. He's on time, he's punctual, he never calls in sick. I don't think he's ever called in sick. And all my past employees have been unreal.
I'm here with Linda. She's the day manager here at the pet shop. In 15 years, I'm sure you've had tremendous amount of stories to think of. What are some of the top things that you can think of that just have brought you joy being here?
One of the best ones, little boy was running through and he was making some noises, and I was thinking, oh, you need to get a handle on this kid. Well, turned out the kid had a little bit of problems. I was like, oh, okay, he's a little special. Well, they asked if they could hold one of the bunnies in the back, and I said, I'll be right back to help you, but sure, go ahead. So he reached in and he pulled out the one bunny we had that happened to be a real scratchy, kind of rough little bunny. He comes walking up with it, and he's all of about 3.5 years old. And he is holding this thing, and this bunny is so relaxed in his arms. It was like the rabbit knew that this little boy needed this rabbit, and his parents are standing there looking at him and looking at the rabbit and looking at me, and they're like, I guess we're getting a rabbit.
One of the things you do when you work at a place like this as a kid is you tag the walls, you write on them, you put things on them, and it's amazing that a lot of those things are still on those walls. As a matter of fact, this sticker right here, I put on this door when I was 16 years old. It says, when turtles are outlawed, only outlaws will have turtles. I loved it back then, and I still love it now. I'm here with my good friend John Turpin. He actually worked with me at the pet shop way back when we were kids. First off, John, how long did you work here?
Worked here for 9 years.
9 years?
Yeah.
Probably at that time we were together, probably what, 5 of those years?
5 years.
Tell me some of the things that you remember about it, because I have so much nostalgia about it. It's insane.
Here it was just an everyday event with, you know, just something new coming in. That was when we used to get all the stuff in wild caught, and just would get the boxes of undisclosed snakes that we wouldn't know, and it would be like Christmas every day we would open them up. And the thing is, it was a family environment that I enjoyed about this. You know, most shops you're like, oh, I got to get up and go to work. Here we got them, went to work, and knew we were going to have a good time. We were always teaching one another. We were always trying to quiz one another, and it was a great time, man. And it was a great time here to learn the new things. Every day was something new. There was something new every day. Something little to something big.
I think that's another thing you touched on. I think that's really important, is shops like this do educate people. I mean, we're here, we're not just people that are caring for the animals, but we're teaching other people to care for the animals.
Absolutely. It's a good tool, because we wanted to make sure when the people came in the store that we were able to answer their questions completely. And if we couldn't find it out, we went into our research books, because I know that we all have stacks and stacks. I still have them that I'll go back into and research and find the answer for them. And that's one thing Matt here at Pet Vendor pushed us for.
What are your final thoughts on the shop?
I'm gonna miss it. It was always something to go back to and come and stand up here and BS with Matt a little bit and see this, you know, see old customers that I dealt with. And I'm gonna miss it. It was a great part of my life that I'll always have, and I made great friends with it. But it's an end of an era.
Well, there's not a lot of animals left, being that it's the last day the shop is open, but this African spur thigh certainly caught my eyes. You guys know I keep some of these back at the shop, and I absolutely love them. They're the 3rd largest tortoise in the world, getting up to 200 pounds and living over 100 years. They eat so much veggies, it's crazy. Back at the shop, I go through several heads of lettuce every single day, and this guy looks like he wants to get away. What do you guys think? Should I ask Lori if I can bring it home with me? As they're bagging their fish and packing their animals in preparation for closing the doors for good tonight, I want to reflect a little bit about what mom and pop's pet shops mean to the community. It's a place where people go to socialize, get to know the owners and the workers for an entire lifetime. You know, with a small pet shop, a mom and pop shop, you know, what does that mean to the community?
I think it means a lot. We've been here for 35 years. You know, people depend on you for their supplies. We're close. We're in a strip mall with a lot of other stores that they also patronize. I've had a lot of questions in the last few days where people come in and they put their arms up and they go, where am I going to get my crickets? Where am I going to get my goldfish? It means a lot, and you know, we helped out as much as we could when, you know, I had yearbook ads in all of the yearbooks in the local high schools. Donated fish when needed for charity auctions and whatnot. We also donated all the dog food for the Centerline Police Department canine unit for years, and that was, you know, I was more than happy to donate that food. It was a great cause. It was a super cool dog. The Officer Frizzell would bring that dog in from time to time and bring it in the store. It was a totally cool dog, and it was, you know, given back to the community, and that's what it's all about.
I can honestly say, if it's not for a pet shop like the Pet Vendor, I don't know that I'd be into reptiles and breeding snakes for a living right now. Sure, I had a passion for animals, and I'd probably still be involved on some level, but this was the store that gave me the ability to know that there was a future in what I really, truly love. And although there's nothing wrong with the big box stores like Petco and PetSmart, I want to make sure that you guys support your local stores and your mom and pop's pet shops. They're such an intricate part of the pet trade. What's the next thing for Matt Benson?
A couple weeks off. I'll probably end up back in the pet industry somewhere. I mean, I wouldn't mind going to work for another store at this point. I'd be a great employee, I'd be happy, and I could punch out at 4 and I'd say, see you later, you take care of the bills.
All right, guys, you saw today that Brian got his start at Pet Vendor, and a lot of us here also got our starts at pet stores. Chewy did, so did Josh, and so did I. So I want to know, you guys must have some pretty cool local pet shops near you. Tell me your stories. Leave a comment below and let us know.
So there it is, and although this show had a sad element to it, I hope you guys enjoyed it. This place meant so much to me growing up, I had to do a tribute about it. If you want to follow any of my animal adventures, make sure to hit me up over on Facebook and Twitter at SnakeBytesTV. Till next week, you've been watching Snake Bites.
Which animal adventure is on the top of Brian's to-do list? Well, if you guessed A, swim with great white sharks, you are absolutely right.
Now what you're looking for as an ultrasound is you really just want to find the gallbladder first, and then right behind the gallbladder is where you're typically going to find your follicle growth, and there they are, the little teeny tiny follicles right now. I just freeze frame them and I go ahead and measure them up, and sure enough, this girl's at 12 millimeters.